So, welcome to this soon-to-be actually titled podcast that we're doing.
I don't even know what we're going to name this thing.
Who knows? Basically, the premise is, much like the hit anime that has been taken off of Funimation's payroll and most Japanese television,
Oh, no.
we're going to be reviewing Monster Girls. But not in the way that Interspecies can, because, you know,
What if it could?
we live here in the real world where that is not a thing yet. So
Yet? What do you mean yet?
the Japanese scientists have already confirmed that they're working on how to genetically make cat girls. That's going to be a
Elon
thing.
Musk was on that.
Well, kind of, slightly. He's helping them.
He's helping, got it.
Nonetheless, we're gonna be talking about just the general aspects of said Monster Girl, how fuckable, to put it in the most layman terms possible, how fuckable they are, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
All right, so Spencer, I need you to choose a number between 1 and 67.
So we've set it up to where basically we have a system between 1 to 67? What's correct?
Yes.
1 to 67, and each one from 1 to 67 is a Monster Girl. And I guess I'm picking a random number.
Yeah, because I already see what all the monsters are on my list, so you need to choose.
Number 34.
34. The Dwarf.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, I don't even... Oh.
So...
Why did we start with the Dwarf?
Because you chose that number.
How did it end up being my fault? All right.
Okay, so... Dwarf women. I accidentally put in swarf women on Google.
You'll totally get something different there.
Yes. So I imagine immediately, without looking up any pictures yet, that they would be somewhere to the effect of very obviously small, very muscular women.
Small, muscular midgets.
Yes.
Is basically what it comes down to.
Effectively.
Effectively.
And because it is dwarf, it is mostly going to be of Norse origin, probably.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, I think we have to figure out what, by definition, is the dwarf women. Is it based off of, like, J.R. Tolkien? Or is it based off of, like, I don't know, fucking...
Let's see.
I don't know.
I immediately pull up dwarf women, and the first thing that comes up is Tolkien Gateway. So I guess we're going with that.
Okay.
So okay. So let's just go with the sort of role in society to kind of get a sort of what's the word? A sort of
level of how fuckable they are.
Well, yes, that, but also their temperament. That's the best way I can phrase that. Their temperament. What to kind of expect.
Okay.
So, quote, dwarves wanted their women to be protected from other races, and they usually kept them concealed inside their mountain halls. They seldom traveled in the outside world, only in great need. And when they did, they were dressed as men, with similar voice and appearance as male dwarves. Even when they are rarely seen, they are usually mistaken for a male. All dwarves had beards. Okay, so...
This started horribly!
Yeah, only a little bit, don't worry. So, okay. This gives us a couple of things right here. So, because they were usually so protected and secretive, that means, at least according to Tolkien's interpretation of dwarven women, that they'll probably have a bit of a sort of shy, maybe a bit innocent side.
Naive, kind of.
Yes.
Like they don't know.
Yes.
Or, well, here's the thing. They would know, but they wouldn't know other species. They would just know only male dwarves. They wouldn't know, like, a human or an elf or anything else.
Yeah, they would be, I would say, a bit nervous, but at the same time kind of like, oh, what could happen here? What's the special part of this?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, so that would be interesting, especially for other species, but since I am human, and Spencer, as far as I'm aware, you are human as well.
I never tell.
So for a dwarven woman, for a human, I think it would... Oh, goodness. I think it would be more of a thing of it would be impossible to 69 them.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, as of right now, just talking about what we go, how would we rate it? Like right now, without
Okay.
going into it.
Before going into it, I would rate this. I'd rate this a 6.
I'd rate it like a 4.
Okay. Why is that?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I like buff women.
Yeah.
That's gonna come out. I love buff women. I think strong females are awesome. 10 out of 10 for me.
Yes.
Here's the problem. I don't know how that correlates to buff midgets. On top of sounding and being mistaken, looking like male dwarves, like how far does that go?
I mean, it said they disguised them to look like men, but they can sound like men too. So
I guess they have like a deeper voice.
yeah, a little bit.
Okay. I think one good aspect I would obviously say is when you're fucking them, you could just pick them up and then use them like as a toy.
Yeah.
Basically, that's kind of comes with like the short thing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
Plus, because they are so durable, that means it doesn't matter if you go soft or rough. They can take it. They are very strong women that can.
If anything, they probably prefer rough.
Yeah.
They probably don't want soft.
Especially since, again, dwarves, very physical labor, very strong-headed people.
Yeah, so like I could just imagine. I don't know. I feel like that she could pick you up as well.
Probably. I mean, what's it? If you're talking about like some whatever dude who just turned 18 and is going to one of these dwarven brothels, yeah, they could probably pick you up.
They could probably pick you up. But I guess if it came down to like I think but here okay, let's think about it another way, right?
Yeah.
Rather than going off Tolkien, let's go off of just someone who is short.
Okay.
Let's just go off of someone who is like just normal, not buff, not a dwarf, but just someone who is dwarven size.
Semi-realistic, one might say.
Like semi-realistic, just dwarven size.
Yeah.
Big titties, big ass, whatever.
Yeah.
That I think could go well. I have a better perception of that than of like Gimli's fucking wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I getcha. And kind of the thing is that how do I phrase this? Even if we are going off of semi-realistic, they're still going to have a bit of muscle on them, at least a little bit, I would say.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I think that's okay.
fine.
I prefer that even.
Yes.
I prefer that even. So I think that's okay.
Yeah, you're still getting that almost durable kind of trait, but at the same time, it's not to an inhuman amount to where you would almost have to always be rough with them if you are doing the dance of the double-backed beast.
Another thing is, I think if you are a muscular guy and you were going into a dwarf brothel and they're gonna be like, you are going to be the dominant one. But if you go in there like a normal person, I feel like they're going to be the one being like, I'm the dom here.
Yes.
You are the sub.
Most likely.
So you will have to play that game.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Yes. And I mean, hey, who knows? If you're able to pull out a few non-muscular dom tricks, then maybe you can turn the tables. Who knows?
As a whole, I think the idea of the I think the idea of dwarves is interesting. I think you could do some fun things with it, and I think it could work. But I definitely think it has its limitations and kind of weird factor to it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different positions that would just be super awkward. Like I mentioned before, 69. That's just off the table. That doesn't exist anymore in dwarven brothels.
You probably couldn't even do doggy style even because they're too low to the ground. You'd have to you have to get on your knees, but like still like crouch a little bit more. No, that's not even possible.
You would have to almost be doing the splits.
Yeah, exactly. Your only option is to do cowboy. But I know a lot of guys don't like that. A lot of guys don't like cowboy.
Interesting.
I that's what I've heard. But I know a lot of guys don't like cowboy. But I also know that you could just pick them up and just use them as if they were a toy. But that comes down to the problem of them maybe being a dom.
Yeah.
Because that's super sub.
Mm-hmm. But what's it? I think there would be... Okay, if we're still going on the realistic path here. I would say that it would all depend on how you first sort of... This is going to sound weird when I say it. Present yourself to the dwarf woman in the brothel. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're saying you should go in there, cocked.
Yes.
Just guns loaded, and then just bust your way in.
Go in like a G, basically.
Go in like a G. If you go in like a sub, you're gonna be treated like a sub.
Yeah, if you go in like a G, you're probably gonna be either on equal ground or you're gonna be the dom in that situation.
And I would think, in this situation, you would want to be the dom.
Yes, I would agree.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah?
You walk in. They say what kind of girl you want, and you say the biggest one you got. Now, dude, does that mean how tall they are, or does that mean how big their breasts are?
I think that would still... Oh, man. I want to say that would constitute to their breast size, honestly.
I don't know, because remember, again, after watching Interspecies Reviewers, when they went to the Cyclops place, it says, how big you want a girl? We want the biggest you have, and then their eyeball was huge.
Also true.
However,
However,
so that's what I mean by, like, how do you want your girl? As big as you got it. And so it's like, here's a really tall, like a 4-foot person.
What's it? I would say my only counter argument to that is, for some reason, for Cyclopses, their eye is a secondary sex organ, which freaks me out.
We'll get to that episode eventually.
We'll get there
buddy.
eventually.
For you specifically.
Oh my goodness. Anyways.
Fuck my eye.
But going back to the whole thing. So obviously if you are into sort of a tomboyish kind of girl, this would be fantastic for you because of how somewhat masculine they can be, or at least present themselves to be.
Yes, if you were looking for that, totally. But one thing as well, if you can, and if it was an option, and obviously it's fictional, so let's just say it's an option, you could have multiple.
Yes.
Say you bring 2, and so you can. You know, I think I'd be okay being dom by 2.
Yeah,
I can get down with that.
Yeah.
Because then it's more they have more options, and it's not just one being like, okay.
I mean, hey, if in that dual dom situation, if you have to use your tongue in any way, that's gonna basically be as much as an actual dwarf's sausage, basically. So
you know what? I don't want to look that up.
Yeah, I'm not going to either. Let's just say that's how it works and go with that.
Oh god, I just imagine just like after like a dwarf girl brothel would just be like, you know what? I can never go back to a normal dwarf ever again. I'm sorry.
That is, I mean, if you work at a brothel, you kind of just have to get what you take, you know?
That's not true. Remember, again, in the show, the Pixies thing, where, like,
they
had to measure, and they're like, okay, you can't do anything.
Yeah, true. So there would be some limitations.
There has to be some limitations, depending on experience, I guess.
Yes. But I think the idea of, like, it's like after going with a human, I don't think I can ever go back to I don't think that would be a particular thing. I don't know.
I have no idea. But as a whole, right now, if I had to rate this after talking about it some more and given options, I would probably go with, like, a 6.
Okay. After discussing this both on the fantasy side and on the realistic side, I would say this is a 5. This is a 5.
Really? You went down?
Yeah.
How so? Why did you go down?
Just after thinking about it, and although the dom aspect would be interesting, I feel like with having quite a few sex positions kind of taken away because of the whole size difference, I think that would be more difficult to deal with. I think that would kind of take away a little bit of the fun factor, because I don't want to do the splits when going in doggy style or even missionary for that matter.
Oh man.
Goodness.
You're just having to like, oh my god, dude, I can't even do the splits to begin with. I honestly don't. Yeah, I agree with that, but also I think there's a lot of fun other things that you couldn't do with others. You know?
For sure.
So I think I stick with a solid 6.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, with being able to be more rough with them, that's obviously, in my opinion, a plus. But
okay,
I think we kind of went through everything we kind of needed to for at least this particular episode.
I agree. But if we want, we can make the episodes longer and just keep going.
We can, but that'll be just for how much talking points we have. But thank you, everyone, for listening to the first episode of whatever we're going to call this.
I have no idea.
We'll brainstorm some names probably after this or whenever. So take care and keep on the lookout for the next episode.
Try to find them dwarves.